Well, what's the crack, everybody? How are you getting on? Welcome to another Buckshot podcast, everybody. If it's Friday that you're listening to this, fair play to you. Tickets are still on sale for the 23rd of April in Belfast at the Limelight. I will be supported by the great and lovely Kieran Bartlett on the night. So get your tickets. Look down in the show notes. They're there. I know payday is coming up. Possibly today, is it? Well, bag yourself 2 tickets. Get a present for you and the significant other. Bring the dog. I don't mind. And it's going to be a joyful time. I look forward to seeing you. Fair play to you. Well done to all the new patrons this week. We have a live show. So the consensus are in for the patrons. Sunday night would seem to be the best one. So we're going to do a show Sunday night. Have a couple of drinky winkies. Live show exclusive for the patrons. So if you want to get on that, have a look down the show notes. Become a Patreon. You know what I mean? Of course you get the Ramble Pods for nothing. As a member of the Patreon group, you would have gotten this. Jesus Christ, you would have gotten me being able to talk. That's what you would have gotten. Mouthful of tea, totally unprofessional. You would have gotten this show last night along with the video, and it's not the cut down version. So they're going to start getting shorter and shorter. The general release, well, they won't. It'll be the odd one. Will be a bit shorter. And the full episodes will be over on Patreon. So, there's a lot to benefit from being a Patreon. That's the crack with that. And yeah, if before I introduce today's episodes, if you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, you can now give it a 5-star rating. Don't mind giving it anything other than 5 stars. We're at bang on. We're 5 stars across the board so far. So if you're listening on Spotify, give it a 5-star rating. And maybe screen grab it. And just tag the old podcast, tag me in it if you don't want to do anything else. It'd be great. It tells more people about it. It tells them where you're listening and all the rest of it. Helps spread the good word. Right, moving on to today's episode. I got very giddy throughout the entirety of this. I think we were there for about an hour more. We were there for nearly 2 hours in all. But we had a great time. They're mates of mine. I've had the boys individually on. I've been on their podcast a couple of times. I just love hanging out with the two boys. Danny and Merrow. They're two strange and brilliantly weird and lovely fellas. Danny is a star of Gogglebox Ireland. We didn't go into it much. I don't know what to tell you. And Merrow has played Wheelchair-Rugby for Ireland, even though he doesn't like rugby. So they're both paradoxes, these gentlemen. Great friends of mine. And again, as always, had a fantastic time with the boys from the What's the Story podcast. Danny Murray and Graham Merrigan.
Does this go out in video?
It will, only to the Patreons.
Grand.
Dirty heroes.
Should I give them a
bit of tip wouldn't hurt, and just it tends not to. I do a midweek one where I've nothing at all on. So
Well, if they subscribe to my OnlyFans, hashtag OnlyFans,
I knew you.
they'll get plenty of tit. Don't worry.
Tom, I feel like you're a survivalist.
It's getting there. The hold on. Only a rare few can spot that one.
What's that?
Is that a shell? Is that like a fucking or a medieval dildo? I'm not sure.
It's what you would need. I mean, anything's a dildo if you try hard enough, Dan. And that is a phrase for life, guys. That's a phrase for life. But this is just fucking. Keeping it real, Merrill. That's a 50 cal. I shot that about 3 years ago. It's a 50 cal. Nearly my fucking shoulder is only coming out of my hole now. Fucking
Jesus Christ.
But look, we'll go full. This is where we're at, Merrill.
Yes.
The Pit Vipers. You got to put on the Pit Vipers. Boys, you need to get on the Pit Viper vibe. I swear to God. They're fucking sponsoring me and everything at the moment now. It's fucking honest to God.
So I'm assuming Style Icon now follows you in pretty much any description for your comedy gigs and whatnot.
It wasn't.
Are we recording now, Tom?
Oh yeah, we're recording. Welcome. And there's no fucking intro to the boys and the What's the Story boys. It's just What's the fucking Story boys. It's literally that.
It'll do me. It's far better than reading out Merrow's criminal record. That's all I'll say.
Do you know what I was? Because I was saying to herself, she goes, "Who's on the podcast this evening?" I said, "The boys, WTS Boys." She goes, "Did you talk to them at the beginning of lockdown?" You're spot on. I fucking did when we were going, this will be a few months anyway, boys, will it?
Exactly. Grand.
A few weeks, about 6 weeks.
Yeah,
I remember you were looking at me because Mero asked me, do I think it'll be over by the summer? And I was like, I don't know, Mero. I said it'll be fucking November before things get back online. Me trying to be the pessimist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah.
I remember saying to the
November?
lads at work, I remember in May, maybe the middle of April, the end of April, or of the first lockdown, I remember saying to my mates in work, I'd say we'd be back in the office now in July.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them in 2 years.
I've given up on the office, lads. I've given up on it.
Would you ever go back? No?
It's a figment of people's imaginations. It's up there now with fucking Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy. It's that kind. It doesn't exist. My sofa is my office, and that's how it shall remain forevermore now.
Yeah, I can't see it going. Why would the fuck, if you owned it, if you were renting an office as a fucking employer, would you be bothered your whole, like, what the fuck are you renting now?
But a lot of them have long-term leases, so they have no get out. Like, I know company, which is I won't name, but it's an American company. They have the lease on that building since I think 1997, and I think it's another 25, 30-year lease on it. So they want to use it, but they've already leased out. The building's so big, they leased out half the building to another company. So they subleased it.
So you have to,
the likes of Facebook and Google and LinkedIn, they want their staff back because of that reason.
Oh yeah, of course. You would do like.
There's a lot of them as well, though, that like, and I'm not saying this for your company or any company I may be affiliated with, Graham. But there's a lot of them that, like, you know, their CEOs use the size of their office as an extension to their exactly. Yes, Tom. Yeah. You know, we've got 800 million square feet, fits 400 billion people, can house blah 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 blah. You know, it's like,
you know for a fact some of them cunts walk in and they have Wolf of Wall Street playing in their head. They want to have the mic at the top of the office going.
I'd be disappointed if they didn't.
They will have to fucking drag me out. And you're like, nobody gives a fuck, man. I'm just here for a paycheck. Yeah. Relax. You know what I mean? Going to power meetings and stuff like that. There's no power, you see, if you're zooming it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing to be fucking gained by it. You know what I mean? There's fucking hell. But you're right, Mero.
If I go back, I'll be only going back about 2 or 3 mornings a week.
I like
just
that.
Come home. So I'm only 5 minutes from the office, but I might go back to see what it's like. I definitely won't go back on a Monday or a Friday.
Mero has all but fucking quit. Do you know what I mean? He's like, listen, if I'm coming back, I'm sticking my head in on a Tuesday and maybe a Thursday afternoon on the way to the pub. I'm just saying.
And bank holiday weekend means Tuesday's the new Monday, so you'll only see me on the Wednesday.
And only we're splitting the week up the middle. You'll see me for 2 hours on a Wednesday of the bank holiday weekend, and I may not be sober. I'm just telling everybody that.
For legal, I've been told by Mero's legal team, by the way, for legal reasons, we have to say everything we say on this podcast is satirical and not true. And Graham is a very dedicated father, employee, and what was the third one, Mero?
Style icon. Oh no, that's me. It's me. I'm the style icon.
That's yourself. Yeah. Sure, he's denying all the children he has, so the father bit might be wrong on my side.
Me or Tom?
I'm not. Tom's good character isn't in question here, but there's a lot of beards with babies in Shankill. That's all I'll say.
And
a lot of babies with beards.
There's no babies with moustaches.
That thing is taking on a life of its own, though, Tom. It's fucking.
I can't get rid of it, Dan. It's become more than me. Do you know what I mean? It is. I'm fucking.
It's a bit like Jim Carrey when he puts the fucking mask on, is it?
I am secondary to the style right now. I didn't. This is all just a fucking bit of a folly. Just a bit of crack. And then before I knew it, I genuinely I did the fucking mullet's coming off now. I can't be having hair on my neck. What's this about? Like, and what I realized, boys. This is freedom right now. Do you know what I mean? This is free. This is the American flag, shooting guns in the air, being allowed to hold an AR-15 while fucking maybe baptizing your child at the same time. This is freedom. I didn't. See, we're all being conformed. You've lovely too. You have two fucking, high and tight fucking haircuts. this is just fucking let her rip dictatorship. It's I've no choice.
Danny blow dries his though.
Yeah, I know. His hair is impeccable.
And I'm having an off day today, as you can see by this little wispy bit here.
I like it.
Because I've only had the one blow dry today, and the stylist was in a rush. She had to pick up kids from creche or something like that. I don't know. So, she didn't give me the 724. It's a very specific number I need to get the bouffantness of the fringe, you see. So we only got the 612 today rather than 724.
I mean, there's cutbacks everywhere, Dan, but at the same time, you really, really have to put your fucking foot down here. Like, you can't sacrifice your bouffant.
You can't get the staff, Tom. You can't get the staff. You just can't.
You know, it is an employee's market right now, as they say. Everybody's fucking got an issue. Everybody's out. You know what I mean? It's fucking bullshit. But what I
need to do is rob or borrow one of those shells and just leave it sitting around the house as a kind of message to what can happen.
Do you know it's a great message? I'll physically show you a great message here now.
Oh shit, the headphones are...
You look, you're in a bunker, Tom.
His head...
You read that?
He shot again, yeah. Merno might struggle with the big words, but yeah.
It was a podcast listener sent me that. It was like, we found this, and just, here you go. It's...
Your listener sends you nice. We just get sent knickers in the post and that kind of thing.
And that's mostly Merrill just sending it to you. I get it.
Just sending, yeah. You know, it's weird when
I did get the fake spider sent, Dan. That's
true. You did get fake spider sent you. Yeah, that is true. Are you afraid of spiders? We talked about this. Are you afraid of spiders? No.
No. Not particularly. When we were doing it at the hotel, Tom, I got hate mail. And I opened up the letter and it was saying like, oh, sick of your whatever, your rhetoric, your certain rhetoric. And a plastic spider popped out. And I kind of jumped. And Danny was like, what the fuck?
It was sent by a Fine Gael phone because you're so pro Sinn Féin. That's what it was, man.
Probably.
It's like the anthrax for a simpleton, isn't it? Like you just... I'm going to get him with a fake spider. He'll ruin his day. Is that really? Okay.
Someone in Deals in Dunleary delighted with their €2 purchase of a load of rubber spiders and a padded envelope, and they laughed all the way to the post box and they said, Graham Merrigan will never suspect a thing.
Well, I still don't know who it was.
Yeah,
really? Nobody claimed it at the end of it?
No, that's about 5 years ago.
Yeah. You're better off. Sometimes the magic is not known, Graham.
Yeah.
You'd be disappointed if you found out.
I definitely thought it was Danny.
Was it not you?
It wasn't me. No, 100% wasn't me. No, Jesus. If I wanted to annoy him, I'd just do what I'm doing tonight, which is just spreading a load of accusations about him and his illegitimate children. But I wouldn't be arsed doing something like that. Especially I wouldn't send it to the hotel.
Huh?
Are you in a bunker?
No, I built this. I guess technically it is a bunker. Yeah, no, when we moved down, we're on the parents' plantation. I make it sound like there's a bunch of fucking people working for them. If you know, it's not. They have a lot of land, and we moved down first, and we were renting a house up the road. And the parents went, well, there's an acre there if you want to use it for a while. So I bought a log cabin. I built the log cabin, and I built this as well. Built the studio as well alongside it.
Lovely.
Unreal.
Yeah.
So have you got running water and all?
Just about. I mean, by that I have to run and get it. You know, if that's what you mean. Yeah. So.
Are you on the bike to get electricity and all?
Listen to this cunt. Like, fucking, they have footpaths. That's about all fucking Ballybrack has to fucking blows. They have fucking footpaths. You're about to be so congested with what those fucking property vultures are building up there at the minute. 10,000 homes and stuff. You may need a fucking bunker yet with the amount of cunts moving in there. The parish of fucking Ballybrack, you'll never see Dublin City ever again because you'll never get out of it. How many fucking people are they going putting in? The fucking madness continues, like, and Cherrywood is about to be like,
I know
they're about to be penetrated deeply by some fucking very wealthy fucking property developers. Just let's build loads and loads of apartments and let's see what happens. How the fuck? Like, you have to get out now, Graham. Get out now.
I'll get down to you on your parents' plantation.
There'll be plenty of space here. That's the great thing about the countryside. There'll be plenty of space here. You don't have to stress about fucking the cunt next door. The other night, this is the most country shit that ever happened. The other
night, Mars bars and all down there.
No. We still have Marathon down here, Graham. Yeah.
You have meanies and Brennan slice pan.
We have Banshee Bones. We don't have meanies. Banshee Bones, and we've Irish Pride. Unfortunately, yeah.
That'll do.
Fuck's sake.
It's only good for our insulation, that Irish Pride.
It's true. I wouldn't give it to fucking Protestants. It's fucking filthy. It's fucking rotten.
Stick it between the dry board for a bit of insulation. That's about all I do with it now.
Well, we were there the other night, and there was this bloke out shooting in the field next door, and he was shooting too close to the fucking house now, and it was dark. I knew what he was doing. He was out with a fucking lamp. He was obviously fucking a couple of foxes or rabbits, I don't know, but he was too fucking close to the house. Like, give it a rest, you know. And I said, and herself was like, "Will we call the guards?" I'm like, "No, the guards don't come down this road, love. They know better. They know better. We all look after our own law. This is Copperhead Road. Are you fucking joking me? This is." And genuinely, I stood outside the door, and it was only afterwards I was laughing, going, "Oh, fucking hell, that is country." This guy was shooting, so you'd hear a shot went off, and in between the reload, I went, "Hey!" And you managed shot again. He went, "Yeah." I went, "Knock it the fuck off." Sorry. We're across a fucking field. And he stopped. He walked away. And I went back in thinking I was the toughest man ever. Herself was just like clutching the child, like, "Oh, I think maybe Dublin wasn't that bad." I was like, "Yeah, we're in the country now. Shit gets done down here."
What made you escape the big smoke, Tom?
It was it was always kind of on the cards, but I could never see it. Herself always wanted to move to the country, and we were in ridiculous. The last time I talked to you, we were in ridiculous Enniskerry, and I call it ridiculous Enniskerry because it's, especially where we were living, it was fucking ridiculous. A scumbag like me had no business around these people. Like, they all had electric gates. We had electric gates. Sure, it was only to keep me in. Like, that's all that was. It was just, you don't let a fella like me in around these people. Like, they all with those half Brit accents. "Good morning, how are you?" It's like, fine, I'm fine, love, yeah. But this fella rang one day. He rang the gate, right? I swear to God, he buzzed the fucking gate, which for a full year I was still confused by, going, what the fuck is this? Like, I never agree with these fucking things, but your man's buzzing the gate, and the red flag immediately. And herself had put the seed in my head about going, "Will we get the fuck out of here?" And she put the seed in my head about a week previous, and this guy buzzes the gate. I answered on the inside, and I went, "Hello?" And he, like, rather than saying it's Jerry from next door or it's fucking Graham from up the road, he went, "Good morning," and he named himself as the name of his house. Like,
oh, no.
Yeah. I swear to God, and the name of his house was, I can't remember. It was something like out of the Wind in the Willows. It was like fucking Toad Hall or Badger Hall or something. I swear on my life, right? And I went, "Yeah, hello, fucking Toad Hall." Anyway, and he continued rather than go, "No, it's Brendan from Toad Hall." He just continued like he was the house talking to me. And I'm going, "Am I having an outer body experience? Am I talking to a house? How is this through a gate? What?" And he was fucking going on. There was some shit blew into his garden, some tent or something blew into his garden. He made out it was mine because, of course, I'm the only scumbag who would have a fucking tent. Turns out it wasn't. Now, if it was empty fucking shotgun shells, maybe, but it wasn't. It was fucking some fucker's tent had blown across. And at that point, I just hung it back up and went, "We're going. Pack the fucking bags. I can't talk to a man's house. I can't talk to a man's. This is not."
Pack the bags, we're going. Imagine that though. "Hello, Brendan. This is Brendan from Toad Hall."
No. Not even Brendan. Actually, just the house name, Merrill. Just the fucking house
hello,
name.
Like, "Hello, Toad Hall."
Yeah. Hello, it's Toad Hall here. And it was like,
it's his residence.
It was something. It was genuinely. It sounded like something out of Wind in the Willows. It was like, what the fuck? Am I in some sort of psychedelic fucking dream? Have I taken something? Like, there's that house talking to me down the phone, and I'm holding a landline. 1981. What's going on? Like, this is the weirdest fucking moment in my life. I went, "This is not on. I can't." So there's a thing after playing in, and I can only presume it's your aim because of course we are adjacent. And I'm like, dude, I swear to God, I should walk down in my underwear and wellies and polishing a gun just to fucking ask you the question again. But yeah, we were done, and that was that. As soon as we made the decision, we were out the fucking door. And I swear to God, it was like I created an exodus. A good five, maybe six. Yeah, I'd say 6 of my friends have all scattered to the wind. they've all gone. Because the likes, say, you get the likes of fucking Gordo Rochford. He rang me. Because you're drilled into your head that you're supposed to be in around the capital. You're supposed to be in around, even though you're not really using it at all. Everybody does the same thing the country over. You go in the evening from work, close the door behind you, and you watch the telly. And there's tellies everywhere. Merrow, would you believe that? There's fucking tellies down the country. And that was it.
It's great. I tell you what's great. If you turn on the telly on Wednesday evenings on Virgin Media 1 at about 9 o'clock, it's great viewing.
I don't worry. We'll get around to it. We'll get around to it then.
I've been winding him up for months over because he still hasn't fucking watched it. So any chance I get now, I'm like, don't worry.
I watched the first 3 episodes and then I just had other things to do.
No, that's grand. You're not supporting your friend. It's okay.
All right. Fucking let's have it then. Gogglebox. How did it happen? Tell us more. Genuinely, how does that
tell the true story, Dan?
How the fuck does Gogglebox come around? Like, or
well, Graham's after saying tell the true story. What's the true story, Graham?
I don't know.
So what are you saying? Tell the
you're assuming he's going to just feed me a story now for the show, like just go fuck it.
Pump up the tires. He'll feed a story that he was disinterested. It wasn't his idea.
It wasn't my idea.
And then he just showed up.
Well, you can't show up to your own house with a camera crew, Graham. There's something weird about that.
No, but you can leave.
You know what I mean? So, look, lads, you don't want to know how the sausage is made, right? So, look, essentially, the lovely Oksana, my wonderful partner, said...
Wife to be in June 6th this year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, June 5th tomorrow. If you turn up on June 6th, you'll have missed it.
That's the most Merrow line of this whole... We won't even chat 20 minutes, and the most Merrow thing of all time going, I'm going to get the date of my best friend's wedding completely fucking wrong.
He's a fucking groomsman. If he turns up the wrong day, we're like... So,
you're some pox bottle. Honest to God, Graham, I haven't got to say pox bottle in a long time, and I'm so glad.
Love pox bottle. What a
great
pox bottle's a great word. It is, yeah. Gimp. I'm on a good one for gimp at the moment as well.
Gimp.
Don't know why.
Yeah,
that's
flute.
Put down,
I called somebody
flute.
A flute.
Oh, I love flute.
Me and Danny love flutes.
I was on the phone just earlier than this, and we were describing. We love a flute. That'll be the title of today's show. Graham.
Absolutely. That's it. We're done now. Yeah, that's it. We're done.
Especially on the 12th. Anyway. Yeah, I was talking with a friend, and there's retro words that should definitely make comebacks. Like flute is a quality one. I just called it. It just came out of my head from like 1995. Talking about this lad who used to run gigs. He says, "What sort of?" I said, "It's a fucking flute," and he started laughing. He went, "I've heard flute and yonks," and I went, "I haven't heard yonks and yonks." Fucking quality.
I went to Emma Kerwin's latest show in the Project Arts Centre, straight to video.
Oh,
and it was about the goings on of a video shop in 90s Tala, and it was just retro word after retro word. It was just brilliant. But like that, flute, yonks, cabbage, you thingamajig, all those classics.
I've never been told by a woman in a it was a GA club. She was an old one, and she would have been fucking banned from any pub. Do you know what I mean? She was one of them old ones that just gets away with being a lifelong club member. Like, where was it? It was the Dosco Centre. It was there near. Oh, it's not fucking Kilmainham. Do you know it's the other side of the canal?
Is this when you were performing?
Yeah. It was a gig one night at this fucking thing. What's the name? You know the other side of the canal from Kilmainham, fucking Inchicore. What's the other side there?
No,
we're all
Drumcondra, Coolock.
We Drumcondra. No, fucking.
No, Drumcondra's miles up the other end.
Yeah,
Dolphins Barn.
Bayside.
Yeah, Dolphins Barn, but t'other side of the road. You know, that kind of way, and where it gets a bit industrial. And it meets the Lewis.
Merrow's just shouting out earlier the Monopoly board now.
I was just thinking that. I'm going to just start. That'll tell you how much that fucker knows about fucking Dublin. He doesn't know one fucking corner of the place, bar fucking Ballybrack.
He's
literally outside it. Fuck it.
He knows Ballybrack to Tala, and that's fucking it. And after that, he's just like, right, if I was playing Monopoly, Crumlin, Kimmage, Rathmines,
right, go to jail. What's the crack? Right.
Sorry, go on. What were you saying?
Go on. There was some fucking old one.
Fucking one kept on piping up, and I was headlining this fucking show, and she was fucking wrecking everybody's head. Just being
heckling,
just heckling, but shite heckles, like just seeing you. just being a fucking dose, like, and nobody was, and it was an old one too. Like, what do you say? She's fucking an old one. But I was in my head, I was like, fuck her, I don't give a shit. And I'm up there, and she's back and forth a small bit. I said, do you realize you'd be fucking barred from any place in the country? The fucking mouth on you. Who's related to this weapon? And this poor cunt at the bar went, that's me, old one. I said, would you fucking do something with her? A bin bag, some fucking thing with her. And your one was loving it though, because she loved a big fucking row. And I went on another bit. She just pipes up, now the smell of Benji off you. I went, that doesn't make any sense, but now the smell of Benji off me. I said, what the fuck does that mean? And I remember hearing it years ago. And do you know who she was? She was the actual real life PJ character as the old one. That's who she was. She was the real life fucking version of that.
Was she that old?
Oh, she was ancient. She fucking headscarf the whole lot. Like, just an abusive little old woman who'd lived her life just being a fucking scumbag, like, just shouting at people. What's a Benji
mean?
I haven't heard the smell of Benji off you since I was in primary school. As far as I remember, it's a bit of a pissy smell, as far as I remember.
Is that it? Because nobody could tell me. Nobody knew the origins of it. I was going genuinely. Anybody? It was an insult. That's how un-Dublin you are, you cunt. You're from fucking Wicklow. Honest to God, there's. You're nearly there. You're practically there anyway. Dublin's only a fart of a fucking place. You'd fall out of it into a fucking other county. You're fucking Wicklow.
We're on the border there.
You're fucking Wicklow. That's fucking tell you now. You're only fucking hop, skipping a jump to
Lord Wicklow.
Lord Wicklow. But yeah, smell of fucking Bang a Benji, I think, or is it smell of Benji? But again, it was a real childish fucking thing. But nobody could explain what the fuck it meant. Like pox bottle. Nobody really could give any fucking origins of it.
That was your worst heckler, was it, Tom?
No. The worst fucking heckler was two lads with a gun.
You told?
Yeah.
You told us that one. Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, fucking.
There's a whole thing about that. I think we accidentally caused you guff with that because we'd PJ. You told us that story, and about 2 weeks later, we'd PJ on our podcast, and we told PJ about you telling us that story. But PJ fucking forgot that we had told him about you telling us it. And then he went on your podcast and told you about it. And you're like, hang on a fucking minute. Is someone robbing my story?
Yeah,
and I'm listening. I'm after causing a fight. Hang on.
Yeah.
That was a good while ago now, though.
That was 4 years ago.
You don't get, like, you get some quality ones. Like, you get, there can be some by pure fucking fluke too, like, that are just, they didn't mean it to be funny and the situation was fucking perfect. And that's the perfect heckle. When you're just getting some fucking idiot just shouting, and that's normally, it's never a good, like, when it's that, it's never anybody who's that sharp. They might get the better one or two newbie comedians, like, or whatever, and they're fucking proud as punch. But then they just pipe up with something and you'll just fucking drive them into the ground like a fucking tent peg. You know what I mean? Fuck them, like.
Yeah. The one that you get, and like that, if it's a newbie and you can see them kind of, oh shit, it's that whole like, when does the comedy start?
Yeah.
That heckle.
Yeah.
That heckle. And a newbie will fucking just flail under that question. But Jesus Christ, them boyos.
I often wonder, like, why, even when you're at a gig, more so like, not a band, but like a singer-songwriter or a comedian or whatever, I often wonder, I've sat beside people that have heckled or had shout up things, and I've often wondered, what made you think that was a good idea?
They didn't, you see, Merrill. You actually have a presence of mind to think about what comes out of your fucking face. These dipshits, do you know the sort of fella now that stops in the middle of a footpath to answer his phone? A busy footpath. And all you want to do is shoot him, dead, to take him out of society. Now, you don't, obviously, because that's frowned upon in most fucking societies. But if you know, to the letter of the law, if you were up in court and you said, look, he stopped in the middle of a fucking busy footpath to check a text, I think most people, 99 if they were honest, would go, oh no, I get that. That's the sort of person. Fuck the world. I'm going to say what I think is fucking worth saying here. And it's terrible. 99% of the time, it's just, you fucking clown. And then you add drink to that. And they're buzzed, they're out, and they fucking probably hate the wife. The fucking kids are doing their head in, and they're going to shout at fucking Christy Moore. And fair play. You know, you get somebody like Christy who goes, here, whoa, shut the fuck up and get out. You know?
Yeah, well, last night I was at Christy, and
when are you not at Christy, by the way? Is there,
I know,
like, do you hang around outside the window just waiting for, is that a new one, Christy? No. Is that a new one, Christy?
He did a new one last night that I hadn't heard live.
Please tell me it was about Jocks that goes to COVID or something. Come on, He has to be brewing one on fucking real whole album of the crack was 90 in the Isle of fucking COVID. He has to.
He has to, yeah. He'll come up with something. But he was he had told a brief little story about the song, and it was quite like a somber, reflection song.
Yeah.
And then he was gathering himself together to start it. And everyone respected the story. And then there's a group of, say, 5 or 6, maybe 2 or 3 rows in front of him, just having a conversation as if, like, we're just having a chat. And he stopped and he goes, "Are you all right there? Do you want me to go, or will we wait for you?" And they were cracking up as if, like, it's like,
yeah.
I just don't get it.
Wrong gig to do that at as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like,
he will break the fourth wall. Like he does. Like he will. Like there's no better fella to stop the fucking show and break the fourth wall.
Exactly, and he has 99% of the backing as well when he does.
Of course, yeah.
Battle the hecklers, because last night everyone erupted when he said what he said, and he has a nice, like, he does it kind of. Almost like he does it kind of gently, but gets the message across.
Like telling people to get the fuck out. That was fairly on the nose, the Mero. I don't know if there was a lot of subtlety in that.
It wasn't subtle now. No,
that one was to get your fucking refund to get on your way. That was a deadly one. But last night's one, it was done nicely, but he got the message across. But I just don't get that. I don't get, even I've been at comedy shows where people are just in a group and they just are like a woman last night. Actually, what happened last night, right? Vicar Street, you know the way the seats and the stools are screwed into the floor.
Yeah.
Well, the disabled stools on either side of the front row are loose. It's a loose table and loose stools, just so you can wheel in. And a group of 4 able-bodied plebs were sat at my wheelchair table that I booked, right? So I was telling the staff, no, look, Ticketmaster and you guys, that you don't number the wheelchair table because it's not screwed in. So that's actually mine, and they should be beside the empty table. So anyway, about 20 minutes later, and I'm still not at the table, and a member of staff went over to this. It was like a mother and father, daughter and daughter's boyfriend, and the member of staff went over and said, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to ask you to move. Because this is the wheelchair seating area, and we're going to have to ask you to move. And the woman goes to the member of staff, are you moving us? Tom, the back of Vicar Street upstairs where it's lined. Yeah. So they were suggesting to sit up in the balcony, and the woman goes, "Sure, we won't be able to talk up there." And I says to my friend, I said, "Did that woman just say we won't be able to talk?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "What the fuck? Like,
fuck off home and talky cunts." Yeah.
So she moved into the middle, into an empty table, and the agreement was that they could stay there until the people arrived. The people never arrived, so they stayed in there. But she wasn't moving until she got a round table, so she could talk.
But surely her tickets should have been for the like. How did she end up at your table? Like, Jordan, because your tickets say your fucking seat and table number, don't they?
Yeah, when you see Ticketmaster have now allowed wheelchair users, disabled people, to buy tickets online. Beforehand, it was always. Do you remember, Dan? We always used to have to ring up.
Yeah, we'd ring up. Yeah.
And you'd be on the line for about 40 minutes on hold. But now, in a lot of venues, most venues, they've allowed you to buy it online. But what happens with Vicar Street is they don't allocate. As I was saying, the stool and the tables are screwed in and they're numbered, but the loose wheelchair tables and chairs aren't numbered. So they just say table 8. And that's actually table 8. And you're kind of going, and then they give the other people table 8. So it's a good system. It's early days. It's only just started before Christmas.
Yeah.
So I'll put it down to a glitch. And your one was trying to mansplain to me though last night. You have to get wheelchair tickets. And I was
Who the fuck was trying to explain to you? Your one who was sitting on your seat?
No, the girl in the Ticketmaster booth. So security had to go out to the Ticketmaster booth.
For the love of Jesus.
And she came out and came into me, and she was, firstly, she started talking to my friend about me. So my friend was like, talk to him. It's not me. So then she's like, kneeling down.
Oh.
And she's only about like late 20s. And she says, I need to see her ticket because you do know you have to buy specific wheelchair tickets.
Oh, sure, heaven forbid you wouldn't know what end of a computer to be looking in at. Huh? Sorry, I tried to bite the fucking laptop. Is that not going to do it? No. Huh? You should have started fucked your phone at the stage and just, does that make it happen? I don't know what this is. And just face backwards, actually back into the fucking stage. You're back to the stage and go, am I pointing the right direction now? Make a holy fucking show over. I'd go to fucking town, start pulling your top off. Just whatever, just to make a spy of that situation because you're speaking to a grown fucking man like it.
Oh, you want to see? She walked off and I said to my friend, did she just mansplain to me how to buy wheelchair tickets? Like, is she for real? And then she, you know what she did? She got that those 4 people that were sitting there. She got them, she reprinted new tickets for them to originally go to the balcony. And she gave it to the poor teenager, Vicar Street member of staff to go over and deliver the bad news.
Of course. Yeah. I
couldn't believe it. Yeah.
What you do, you get, and I was talking earlier with a mate. It was about a gig that we did years ago. And it's funny that you talk about people that talk, like they're the same people. They're the same people that stop in the middle of the footpath. And sometimes they make collections of these fuckos. And really, they should have their rocks put in their pockets and just pushed out into the fucking Dunleary Harbour and just off you go. And if you can make it back, well, Hunger Games it, you're in. But if you can't, society wins. Like, may the gods be in your fucking favor or whatever it is. Like these fuckos will not, and they will never. Can you imagine 2 of those people producing a child? What is going to happen from that?
Tom, don't
recording of a recording is never any good. With the old tapes years ago, it was always dirt. And that's what happens. More fucking dum-dums.
It was always dirt.
It was always dirt. You're trying to fucking record fucking Coolio off the radio. And the next thing, you give it to a mate. We're getting fair deep in nostalgia here, boys. Gangster's Paradise. Which it's not bad off the radio, but you record it another time and it sounds like fucking Daniel O'Donnell singing Gangster's Paradise. And that's
you used to try and record it.
That's the cover version I want.
You used to try and record it and not get the DJ's voice.
Yeah. These fuckers. We did a gig years ago in a rugby club in Cashel, and you're fucking working man's fucking club. It's not like the typical rugby that, although in fairness, it's starting to expand in Dublin into more normal places, but it's a working blokes club. And we did a gig, myself and John Cleary. Lovely show. These people were in the zone. They were never fucking been to they were in great form. It performed exactly like a comedy audience. Second half, I bring John on, and these 3 young ones walk in from the back. They'd obviously be pre-drinking. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't give a fuck. They just started talking as loud as you like amongst each other. And a couple people know them because it's a small town. They know, so they're like, they're fucking doses. And I said, I'll go over and say something. And as I'm about to go over and say something, a woman in the second or third row stopped Cleary. She stood up like it was a town hall meeting. She goes, sorry, John, for 1 second there. She turned around, 3E, shut the fuck up. And sat back down. And everybody just gave her a round of applause. And she goes, go ahead, John, you're grand there now. And Cleary was in ribbons for at least a minute and a half. He lost it completely. Never seen that. And talk about crowd control. It's like, that's who you need. You need an old one called Mary, third row, who'd fucking eat you for fucking without salt. And she fucking ate, didn't fucking, not a peep out of him.
There's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said for that kind of manners in a community where there's one old one who everybody know, here's Patsy, shut up to fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, you need it. You need that in a town.
She was an enforcer. Like, there was nobody going to cross that woman. And John made the next 10 minutes of material all about her. And it was the funniest shit. Just off the cuff, funny fucking shit. Just inventing stories.
That's the best comedy, isn't it, Tom?
It was beautiful. It was just, everybody was in the flow state. It was a beautiful fucking, it was unexpected because, you're essentially upstairs and, you're in the attic of a barn, which because, a newly built fucking comedy or fucking rugby club. So it's for all the world fucking industrial unit. You're in the attic of it. Literally, they had 2 pallets. They said, fuck, we don't have a stage for you. I went, anything, lads, just to create any form of elevation, anything. So the lad went, we've pallets, will that be terrible? I went, not at all, to do the finest. But you know what? It just added to the crack. It was like every second step, your foot is going through the fucking slats and stuff. But it was the fact that they so got on board and were ready to smile. and they didn't need any more coaching after that. They had good fucking manners, and it was actually perfect. Those three bitches piping up, because it showed everybody else how well behaved they were. Do you know?
Yeah.
And it took the fly straight out of the ointment. It was a beautiful fucking moment where you watched it. I'll start this, John.
I remember Danny was gigging out in the Halfpenny, and before he went on, there was a guy that was on before him, and he was getting really badly heckled. No, I don't actually think he was getting heckled. There was two girls at the bar upstairs, and they were just having a conversation between themselves, and he got really, really offended, and he was really offensive to the girls now. Do you know what I mean? Like, they were, when he corrected them, they kind of stopped, but he kept going.
Ah, fuck.
And they didn't heckle him. I was agreeing with him at the start, but then I was just like, mate, he started saying where he's dragged up in the lift, he's look like it and all. I was like, here. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the specific.
He's a red-headed lad. It's kind of shaved hair.
No, I don't remember the specific incident now. But the Halfpenny, I used to love the Halfpenny because it's such a small room and you get a good crowd. The buzz in there just fucking hovers.
That's
and
class.
You can feel it. Like, but the bar is so close to the stage that even with a mic, you know, one slightly loud, slightly drunk fella ordering 2 points will cut across your joke if you're not careful. Do you know what I mean? And that's half the fun of it as well.
I think the two girls are discussing something harmless as will we get a Jaeger bomb, and your man went mad.
Yeah. In that instance, it's all right. Like, you know what I mean? When it's both, if it's people sitting in the front row having a big conversation,
having a barney, that's
fuck off. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? What are you there for? Like, get the fuck out of it. Like, you know.
What have you paid money to see? What have you paid money to the show for? You didn't pay money to see Christy Moore or Tom Anthony or PJ Gallagher to start waffling. Like,
I remember doing a gig down in some bar down the IFSC years ago. I can't remember the name of the fucking bar. I just remember it for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons I remember it, Gary Lynch, it was a weird night. And Gary embraced those nights, something fierce. And I think Joe Rooney might have been on as well. And I just remember Gary Lynch just deciding that he was emceeing it. And I just remember him trying to get everyone who was coming on to do a tumble. And he just had this thing about do a tumble. And I was like, fucking Gary. But there was one mouthy
fella. Where did your tumble go?
It went fucking awful, to be perfectly honest with you.
Stuck the landing, Merrow, 10 points all across the board, hands in the air. Like,
I did not get points for elegance, that's what I will say. But it was weird. I always remember a gig because when I was leaving and I was going home, some fella pulled a knife on me. It was the fucking maddest thing ever. Like,
fucking what?
Yeah. I just told him to fuck off and I kept walking. It was grand, like. But the IFSC at night time's a strange place, lads.
Yeah, it is.
But the crowd at that, just because Gary was doing the tumble thing, the crowd at that were just like, if he doesn't do a tumble, he can fuck off or not having any of it. And it became this thing of, you better do a fucking tumble, boys. And because of that, I don't know, there's been some mad gigs over. When I say the best, worst gig I ever experienced was Carlo, and it was Rag Week. And we were doing a gig in a pub.
Did we do it together?
Were you on that one as well? With Pat McDonald and fucking
Finchy.
Who else was on that?
Was Finchy involved in that?
Finchy might have been involved in that.
Because I remember doing one in Carlo and it was
Rag Week, and they did not know it was a comedy gig.
No. And we sprung it on these people, these youths who had a lot of drugs and alcohol in them. Yeah, and Carlo's a rough town at the best of times. Like.
It is. Rough the dog's arse, yeah.
But,
it was a fucking strange. I just remember Harry stinking of fucking chips. He went into the chipper next door. It was such a bad night. He was like, I'm eating chips and I'm hungry. He just came back and he stink of salt and vinegar. It was just a fucking weird night, like.
Finch, there's a name I haven't heard in years.
Finchy,
yeah, Finchy.
Yeah. Finbar, I don't even think he's on the social media anymore.
Oh yeah, he went all Sons of Anarchy there into the bikes and stuff like that. I think
he didn't. I remember that actually. Yeah.
I was living with him for a while. There was a gang of us living in a house in Inchicore, which is the landing spot for most southern originating cultures. Like Inchicore is where we'd all land. Like, so
that was the original answer to fucking the influencer house that show on Netflix is about, is it?
Yeah, it was.
Tell you, I got to say
it was a house. I'll tell you that. It definitely had 4 walls and a roof. That was fucking Jesus Christ.
That was it.
There was mad shit. It wasn't mad partying, but just there seemed to be this rollover of mad jokes coming through the place. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you wake up and there's a bloke from fucking Siberia eating fucking warm milk, down at the fucking kitchen table with no shirt on. Like, you're going, okay, this
and
is
he doesn't live there.
No, this is Tuesday. Okay, all right. Do you know? So there was any amount.
How long did you last there, Tom?
When was I last in Inchicore?
No. How long did you last in the house?
Oh, I'd say I was there. Jeez, I was there a year and a half, 2 years, I'd say. It was all
sounds like the type of environment you would flourish in, to be fair.
Do you know what it was? It was fucking, it was like fucking it was like an open prison, if you know what I mean. It was like you got your bed and board. It was so cheap, but the surroundings might not be the greatest at the best of times. But you got your bed, and it was fucking next to nothing. And you could leave, you know what I mean? But you're as well to be home at some time of a reasonable hour, because that's when the nightmares come out. You know what I mean? So you just, it was a weird fucking spot. But I remember herself, she had rented up the road as well, because we were good Catholics. We did live together for another while. She lived, but where we were was old in Chigor, but she lived down on the main fucking Emmett Road. And like, holy sweet Jesus, like the carnage. And it's only a couple of 100 yards away. Like, what the fuck? Like, there was a drug dealing ice cream van. It was the best thing you've ever seen in your life, right? He'd pull bling, 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 music going fucking way too quick, right? Because he's coming up the road at about 60. And he used to pull into this little estate across the road from her place. There was about 5 houses in there. And he'd just pull in at 2 a.m. like, bling, 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 bling. And he's
serious?
Yeah. And whatever you wanted. He was selling it out the side, like proper, open it up like the fucking, like the fucking commitments. You know what I mean? Just
with the music on at 2 a.m.
Didn't give a fuck. Nobody touched it.
Sure, how else are the addicts going to know, Graham?
But like, it was, and I mean, there was a cop station around the corner, but they'd raid it every so often just for the sake of it. But sure.
The maddest thing we had in Ballybrack on a similar level was Pat the Icer, and he used to sell you single cigarettes.
Oh, lovely. Yeah.
And like, it'd be 13-year-olds, less fucking 10-year-olds running up to him and being like, 2 John Player Blue, please, Pat. And he'd be like, are they for your man? Yeah. Grand. There you go. There's a couple of ciggies. Go on. And he'd be taking he'd charge everyone different amounts. He couldn't give a shit which ones. Oh, this is a girl, all right. 20 pence, love. This kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? He's a fucking
single fags. Yeah, there used to be a shop in Tiptown, all right. Your man used to sell single fags out of it. Like, and he didn't give one fuck who was buying them. Literally, a toddler could crawl in there and just be only 2 words, be too major. And he would fucking sell it. He didn't give a fuck.
Jesus.
How much were they?
Actually, we're fuck all. Like, I mean, your man was making a massive profit on them, because he'd break up a pack of fucking 20. I'm sure he was probably selling them at 10 or 15 pence a piece. Like, I'm sure at the time a pack was probably only €15 or 15 or 150 or whatever. But he didn't give a fuck. Do you know?
Remember that you used to be able to buy fags with like a note from your parents. Like,
yeah.
Fucking telling you now, lads.
But remember the shops as well used to give your parents a loan, like.
Yeah. What? Yeah.
You'd go up with a list. It'd be about £8, and it says in the note like.
Oh, you get it on tick, like.
Yeah, you get it on tick.
Yeah.
Fuck, I know people that get Manly on tick, Danny. I know
George Manley does tick.
George opened the book, like, and you pay like, if people get paid on Friday, he'd let them. He'll go in like regulars on a Monday or Tuesday, might order a curry and say, George, can you put it on my book and I'll pay you? And he says, yeah. And the person go up on a Friday and pay whatever their bill is.
Is that a
Tom,
chipper?
That's a Chinese takeaway, Tom.
Yeah, but you'd be guaranteed to be paying fucking cash too, you see. Them boys, they don't fuck around them.
George Manley, he doesn't take card.
George Manley is nuts. Like, he has it all worked out though. I was talking to him one night, and he exports from Ireland whiskey, Hennessy
cognac,
yeah, Hennessy cognac and Jameson whiskey. And at the time when I was talking to him, this is years and years ago, I think it was MP3 players, and he was making a fortune. His area in his province in China loved Hennessy and Jameson, and he was sending over containers every month. Like, this is a Chinese man that runs our local Chinese, who speaks a bit of Irish, and I think he's got a master's in mathematics, and he's
mathematical engineering.
Mathematical engineering, and he's a taxi driver.
Yeah.
See,
and he's
a legend of the area.
You wouldn't make a bean shirt of mathematical engineering. What the fuck are you doing with that? He knows where the money is.
What is that actually? Yeah,
he knows where the fucking money is.
I remember, like he like the rumor,
he's saint, isn't he, Dan?
He's always smiling. He's such a smiley, happy kind of man.
Of course he is. You'd be smiling too if you were pulling in fucking 10k cash on a fucking Friday from lads. But selling out fucking black bean and fucking.
If I was
curry
to
chips.
order, if I was to ring up something for delivery and it wasn't the order that he'd be used to from my brother, he'd be like, he'd recall it. He'd say, "Is it not the usual order?" And I'm like, "No."
I haven't lived in Ballybrack in 3.5 years, and some stage last year when I was up with the folks, he said, "Go on, we got a Chinese," and I rang, and when I gave the order, there was this weird silence, and he goes, 91. And I said, "Yeah, where have you been?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm telling you, like, because clearly there hadn't been an order, you know." But years ago, when Paparazzi nightclub was still a thing in Dunleary, lads.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
We bundled into a taxi one night, and it was George Manley, and such is his character. And not a bad word said about him by anybody in the borough. The Chinese was closed. But we were like, "Go on, George, go on, give us a feed, go on." So he fucking pulls up outside, it bangs the shutter comes open, a couple of 3-in-1s come out.
Are you serious, Danny?
Not making that up.
What time is this at?
That is fucking
it would have been
class.
about 2:00 in the morning.
You're
class.
Yeah, sure. What time did Paps close at? 2, half 2?
Half 2, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, yeah, literally pulls up, he hops out, bangs on the shutter comes up, a couple of tinfoil trays come out.
Unbelievable. What a legend.
Fucking beautiful.
Happiest boys in the world we were.
They don't mess around like them fucking Chinese boys when it comes to it. They're on fucking real for making money. They're on like I guarantee you, he hasn't told you, but I guarantee he owns probably 2 of them in fucking horse and jockey. Like, you know what I mean? They'll never own just one because they have a rollover of cash that needs to get into the next one. I saw it was a couple of years ago. It was outside a fucking Costa Coffee. I'll never forget it, in Cork one time at a kind of industrial estate. And I know you're one because I know her father. Father's about 5 Chinese around the country. And she pulled up in probably one of the rarest 4x4s and probably one of the most expensive 4x4s in the world. It was what's known as, it was a G-Wagon, but it was the red branded Brabus. Now, Brabus are like Cosworths. Years ago, they'd take your car and then they'd make it super. Well, Brabus take a Mercedes and they make it better than a Ferrari, basically. Michael Schumacher, when he was driving, he wouldn't drive a Ferrari, he drove a Brabus. And when he was driving for a fucking Ferrari, and she pulled up, probably a 200 grand fucking Jeep, pulled up and jumped out of it, not even pulling the handbrake. She was answering the phone, left the door wide open and the thing rolling across the car park. And there wouldn't be another one in the country, like. And she just walked away from it. Walked away, and there's like a ball of fucking cash. I looked into it. There's a ball of cash sitting where the coffee cups would be, like, just like fucking. We're talking like fucking gangster level money. Just couldn't give a fuck. This yo could mind like a baby, like. And you one just stood out of it like, fuck it. It's just, we got to burn the cash somewhere. You know what I mean? They don't fuck. I never fuck with them lads, but they fucking buy and sell you. And I love when they don't take cards. They're like, nah, there's an ATM around the corner. Sort it out.
He's still not on Just Eat, is he?
No, he's the only one that isn't.
He won't do Just Eat. That'll tell you he knows.
Paper trail. Fucking paper trail and Just Eat.
And the demand, that's the thing. He knows the demand is in the border that he's like, I don't fucking need Just Eat, need me. I don't need them.
Yeah. Providing a service.
Tell you.
Do you know what? I know we haven't spoken once about rugby to wreck Merrow's fucking head. Merrow, you're wearing an Ireland fucking. Do you call it football or do you call it soccer?
The proper name of it is football, so I call it football.
Yeah, and that doesn't, your Republican fucking pride and all the rest when it comes to Gaelic football. You're okay with that? You can have 2, can you? I'm only asking because what I want you to sell soccer to me.
I'm not a GAA fan, so I'd call that Gaelic football and my football.
Can you sell it to me and Danny? Can you sell football, the beautiful game as it's called itself?
Danny's a football fan.
I am a football fan. Like I'll happily sit and watch it, but I wouldn't be as certainly, especially about going to a live game. Like Merida would definitely be. You know, you'd have to try sell that to me more so than. But if there's nothing on and
do you know what? Sell us a night at fucking. Is it Bowes or Shamrock Rovers you're into?
Bowes. He's a Bowes fan.
Bowes. Sell a night at Bowes for us. Come on.
Go on, Meryl. Tell them about your season ticket and Daily Mount there.
Tom, how long do we know each other?
Fucking forever. I'm yanking your chain.
You think I'm a Bowes fan?
Sure, your chair is red and black, Meryl.
Tom, you think I'm a Bowes fan?
It's fucking. What's the name of your fucking crowd? It's not Shamrock Rovers. St. Pat's. St. Pat's. Is it?
Shamrock Rovers, you tick.
He gets very upset about this.
I gave you an option.
He's winding me up. What? You're a good actor.
Where are Bowes based? Are they based in town? In Inchicore? Or is that St. Pat's?
Didsbury.
That's Pat's, yeah. Bowes are Daily Mount Park, yeah.
Right.
Didsbury, Pat's in Inchicore.
Did you ever go to... Shamrock Rovers are in Tala.
Rovers are Tala.
Yeah. Did you ever go to Pat's when you lived in Inchicore?
I did. I went into what? There was a fucking... Literally, there was a game on. No idea. A lot of people seemed very enthusiastic about the thing. And I went in. It was a Friday evening game. Went in. I wasn't fucking shouting for anybody in particular because I had no idea who either one of these were, but they were playing Bowes. And they seemed to be all really enjoying themselves. It seemed to actually be more of a pantomime in the audience than it was as to what was going on in the field. Because truth be told, I haven't watched a lot of soccer, but it wasn't what we'll call, it wasn't the Formula One of soccer, if you know what I mean. A lot of lads, some lads actually missed the ball a few times. And that's, I'm just saying. But it ended up 0-0 and nobody was furious. That's what struck me. It was like, everybody's okay with nothing. Yeah. And that's, I could see the crack that people were having, but the fact that I think the game was secondary to the shit they were giving each other more than anything else. I think it would, that I could appreciate the kind of row and fucking sentiment and the whole thing, but the game finishing up with nobody scoring nothing. It was like, we were an hour and a half into this and nobody scored nothing. What the fuck is going on? And nobody seems pissed off with that side of things. Everybody seemed okay.
It's very rare. It's very rare for a rugby match to finish 0-0, isn't it?
You'd never ever see it. You'd never see it.
Not in this day and age. You wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't.
Back in the day, you might get very low score and kind of a single penalty deciding the match kind of carry on. But in this day and age,
has there ever been a 0-0?
There would.
I'm sure there has somewhere in the annals of it, but like
no. In terms of, have you ever watched a 0-0?
No, never played.
Not even watching.
Schools rugby would often be low enough scoring, typically, because you haven't learned how to unlock defenses like they do in fucking the senior game. So a lot of it comes. But I think the lowest scoring match I was ever involved with was 6-3, and even at that, it was a fucking damn squib. You're like, well, this is a fucking disaster for everybody. You know what I mean? We won, but it was like, well, this is fucking shit. But that's what blew my mind. It was like, when are they going to put fucking let him have a point or widen the fucking goals or something? Do you know? Fucking do something, because that's the thing.
That's what football's missing. Yeah,
that's the only thing. I think I'm not against it in any way, but football seems very stuck in its ways. Like rugby, what they're constantly trying to do is create new fans. So they're trying to make it an attractive game. So they change the fucking rules every year so that they can make it more interesting. There's more tries being scored. More people are getting busted. Do you know what I mean? They're all the time trying to fucking make it more interesting.
Hang on, lads. I'm stuck on Tom's idea here that at the 70-minute mark of a football match, it's 0-0. And Philip Schofield asked the manager, "Do you want to use your simplify?" And it makes the fucking net bigger, like it's the cube. That's what we're missing. It's nothing to do with VAR. It's nothing to do with VAR. It's just give me the simplify. The net gets bigger.
Just out 4 foot on either side. Fuck yeah.
It's mad, Tom, the way you're saying there about, the rules. They try and change it to make it more kind of, as well as entertaining for the spectator. But I was saying to Danny recently enough, doesn't lately, I'm a sports fan. So I would look out for rugby.
Sure, you played rugby for Ireland, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So I would look out, but I'm finding I'd say, probably during the pandemic, actually. I don't know why that is, but I'm finding it more like even with Leinster results or even Ireland results, I'm finding out the results the day after as opposed to the pre-match chat during the match. I don't know where I do be during the match. And then it's the next day where I'm kind of like, geez, I didn't even know they were playing. And what is that just me or
I think
is that a fair remark? Even
I think it is, yeah.
It probably is getting lost in the forest of shit news that's at the minute.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
I've gone a little bit off the boil with it as well. I think what hasn't helped is the what are they calling it now? The United fucking Nations League.
Yeah, it's a ball of bollocks. Like, yeah,
it is the domestic competition that now features Ireland, Wales, Scotland, Italy, South Africa.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't think that has done anything for fans in terms of appeal, and I know the lads are working hard on it, and Adam Redmond, who myself and Mera would know, is obviously working his balls off to try and do everything he can with it as well. But like, it's just, I don't think COVID hasn't helped it, but I just don't think it's captured the fans' imagination at all. Like,
well, you're never going to get a fucking 2 plane loads flying down to fucking Cape Town from fucking Dublin or Dublin or Limerick.
Not a chance. Like.
Do you know it's a fuck? They saw it. What it is a money deal for telly. That's all that was. A money deal for fucking telly. You're having to spend the 2 fucking weeks. Look what I mean, it couldn't have come at a worse time, and you're getting a couple of teams like Munster got stuck down there. Yeah. They're like, nah, you're not. We've 2 cases. You're going nowhere. And then a handful of lads.
That was at the start of this fucking Omicron. Fucking whatever.
And they went, nah, you're going. And then they held on to fucking 14 lads. They went, you have it now. So the other 30 odd of you can go home. Sure, Munster had to play a match, and they root young fellas out from school, stop the leaving cert, come out and fucking play for us. Because they were literally down to those numbers. Yeah. And freakishly, they ended up winning. I don't know fucking how, but because they found a couple of monsters in school, which was a great thing. But it's a fucking disaster when you think of you're stuck in South Africa.
Look at that, though. Look, the beauty of that, though, like where it was like, games going ahead, that's it. And they said, all right, fuck it, we're going to chance a couple of hot prospects here. Whereas look what's happening over in the Premier League in the football. 2 fellas get a sneeze, and they're like, the entire thing, that's it. Now, Arsenal won't be playing this week. 2 players have coughed in the last 4 hours. And
really, are they being that tight on it?
Teams are they're looking at it and they're like, oh, we have a couple of lads out with injuries. We're just going to say it's COVID. And that way they get out of a dodgy fixture. They buy them. So they're getting a little stay of execution so they don't have to play a tough game at the weekend. Like,
surely they have to prove it, though.
Well, sure. I mean, fucking, was it which one was it? I know it was the cup game. It was the semi-final of the cup. It wasn't the league. But Liverpool were like, oh, we have a couple of suspect cases there. It was the lads going after the fucking African Cup of Nations, and they were like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
But
so it's been used for nefarious fucking reasons with some of the Premiership fucking teams. All right, I didn't. Yeah, it seems to be. I don't think definitely with rugby anyway, because there's so many fucking moving parts and intricacies to it. If you haven't strung a string of games together, like, you're going to be pants for the first while. Like, they're desperate to fucking get games together, and they're in a volatile position. Well, it'd be one thing to put your soccer players, you mightn't get fucking paid this week. Oh, that's grand. I made $500,000 last week. It's fine. You know what I mean? I'll have the rent. We're all right. Whereas you're getting rugby players who, for the most part, are on decent wages. Decent wages if you were maybe not even a consultant, but if you had a good solicitor's job.
They're not all on Johnny Sexton's salary, like, you know what I mean?
No, they're not all getting a fucking cut of those fucking money bags. Like, no.
What would Johnny Sexton be on, lads? Would he be on 6 figures a month?
Oh, yeah.
He would, between all his deals and everything else. Like, but like, if he decided
6 figures a month.
Oh,
no, a year. Like, he's on a good wage, but nothing like.
So he wouldn't be on $1 million a year.
Oh no, he might. Yeah, with all his stuff, everything, all in, including endorsements and whatever, I'd say he clears $1 million easily.
He would. Like, when you get that World Player of the Year status, you're like, yeah, I'll be fine forever. It's fine. Yeah. But at the same time, like, it'd be nothing like soccer players. Like, that's no. So these lads, and most of them are fucked by mid-30s. So you gotta fucking spread that butter over the toast for the next couple of fucking years. You know what I mean? You see a lot of them lads.
How many years has Sexton got left, lads?
I think
this will be the last Six Nations, will it?
No, I think he's holding out for the World Cup. I think he wants that next World Cup.
Really?
Yeah.
He will. He said it. He goes, I want to emulate fucking Tom Brady. He said, and he's with the fucking techniques they have nowadays for fucking bringing lads back from injury. Like, you see, there's a couple of old fellas and they're fucking playing on. Like, Peter O'Mahony's playing better stuff than he's ever fucking played. and he's fucking.
Has Sexton not got concussion issues though?
They reckon he had back in the day, but he hasn't in a long time. It hasn't been an issue in a long time.
Yeah, I was going to say he hasn't had any in a long time. There was that period where he took, 3-4 months out when he was at Metro or whatever, or Racing. What do they call themselves now? Was it Racing? Did they drop the Metro or did they?
No,
I don't know which.
Yeah, Metro 92. Is it now? I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Racing 92.
They'll always just be Racing or Racing to me. Anyway, when he was over there, he dropped out for a couple of months because like that, the concussion protocol and whatever, and he'd got a couple of bangs in the head consistently. But I haven't heard the words Johnny Sexton and concussion in a couple of years at least now.
The problem is, Merrow, back in the day, that they'd never keep an eye on it. And you see, those 3 months would never happen. You're playing. And especially in France, where they flogged the life out of you in France. Like, they don't give a fuck. Get out to fucking play, because they have a huge television watching. Like, they barely care about anything outside of France. Like, they couldn't give a shit. There's a handful of teams in the French league that care about Europe. But really, at the end of the day, they go, no, we play. Like if you want to listen, I did an episode with Bernard Jackman, and Bernard gave a great insight.
What a gentleman.
Yeah,
we had him on before. He was a gent.
Did he give the insight on training in Grenoble, like the mad cunts? Like, they just...
No, I think he was only in the Grenoble job a couple of weeks when we had him on. We had him on a good while ago, like, so.
Right, yeah. Well, he'd done the Grenoble thing, and he'd been parted ways with Dragons, and he had a bit, as he said himself, have a bit of spare time at the moment, Tom. So, but I didn't go into the Dragon stuff because it's still fairly raw, like, you know, the fucking leaving him or whatever. But he was talking about the Grenoble shit, and like, they don't give a fuck outside of even of Grenoble. Play your bollocks off at home and win all your home games. Outside, play. It's fine. Are we all enjoying ourselves? He told us this great fucking story. He worked the table out in such a way that would keep him up, but they were dire. They were after getting into the Premier League over there. They were after getting into the first division, but he'd worked out the connotations of somebody else that was playing had to fucking lose by a couple of points, and that would keep him in. And they were going to have to play somebody like Toulouse. They were going to get their holes handed to them. And it was a weird end of season time where they didn't think they were going to have to play a game, but he allowed a bunch of the Fijians and fucking hard big bastards go home. So they were just left with the pups. And on the way to the game, he's fuck right, I better get their head in the fuck game, because we've got to show up. And they're on the bus and they're driving. And all of a sudden, the fork in the motorway that should be heading to the fucking wherever, to Toulouse or wherever, went to the total opposite direction. It's like, I'll say nothing because they're fucking French, like, you know what I mean? And next thing, after about 2 hours on this country road, they're bopping down along and they end up at this fucking small little seaside village. I was like, what the fuck is this? We have a game tomorrow. We're supposed to be in the hotel getting our fucking heads. And next thing, they stand off and they're on this pier, like fucking in fucking Dalkey. It's this little old, and this fucking guy, the CEO, the boss man, the owner, comes in on a fucking speedboat, and he's like, hey, fucking hey, I thought you were meeting us there. He goes, no. First we hang out and we have some wine and oysters. And he's like, fucking wine and oysters. I've got a team of fucking athletes and we're playing a serious game. What? And he's like, what about fucking like sugars and carbs and proper, you know, they're supposed to be loading. He's go, we have bread. And he's like, fucking bread. But you can't say anything. He'd keep all this inside, because once you go at the French, they'll go, fuck him in the sea. There's a beautiful no gray area with these people. There's just...
Well, it's funny you say that, because when I played for Ireland, the Wheelchair-Rugby, the tournament was in France. It's in the south of France. And we were in a different town every day for each games because it's sponsorship. And every town that we drove into, they made a huge fuss about everything. Like, you felt like you were an athlete, you know that way? Yeah, it was fantastic. There was like, no pun intended, but there was captain's runs and stuff like that where they were going out and all. And it was just, we didn't have to put our hand in our pockets for anything. Like, meals were pre-match meals, post-match meals. And as I said, when the local town that we would enter, like there'd be people on either side of the street giving the buses a clap. Like, we were sharing the bus with the Scottish team, and then the other two, there was like 3 buses in total. Like, so you're just made a huge fuss of. So what you're saying there, like they even do that with wheelchair rugby stars.
Oh yeah, like they don't outside they don't give one fuck about anybody bar France. They don't give a fuck. And there's a beauty there's but you know what? You know where you stand with them. That was that's
why I love French rugby though. And even the fans do not give a fuck before the match, after the match. They'll fucking have as much crack with you if you want, but during the match, shut the fuck up and let me watch the rugby.
But they boo penalties and all, don't they?
Oh, they don't buy into any of that silence and respect.
I like that.
Shit.
I like that. I hate that silence.
I went to Stade Francais playing Clermont, and it was Stade Francais are playing at home. It's called Stade Jean Bouin. It's beside Parc des Princes where Paris Saint-Germain play, right? Two massive fucking stadiums next door to each other. And then an hour up the road, you've got the Stade de France, right? So we went in, sitting, our seats are behind the goals. They've got pink posts because they're fucking Stade Francais.
Yeah.
And when I say it was like fucking a teenager having a rave on the beach because their parents were gone away and they thought they could get away with that. And it was mayhem outside the stadium, inside the stadium. Lads fucking giving it loads. Young ones were barely a stitch of clothing on, giving it socks. Beer in the air, fucking a DJ in the center of the pitch on deck. Right? It was manic, and I'm looking around going,
did you enjoy it, Dan?
I loved every minute of it. It was amazing. And I'm looking around going, you would not get this at the D Fortress in the RDS. Like, you just wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? And then
D Fortress, is that a thing?
I only heard it. Yeah. I had John Fogarty on the podcast a couple of months back. He's from Cashel, but he was the scrum coach with fucking Leinster for years, and now he's gone to Ireland. But he had a fucking there was D Fortress, and there was something
the Lion Pit.
No, it was way worse than that. It was what the fuck was it? D Fortress.
The D Fortress.
Oh, there's an even better one. There's an even fucking better one.
But it's like that's Russell Carroll Kelly stuff.
I don't think it's the vast majority, but it is. If you were to say there's a fella eating an onion, with a plastic bag on his head at a Munster match, the quintessential other version of that is the Ross O'Carroll Kelly. And there is some, but they play up to it, like Luke Fitzgerald. He had nicknamed when he was playing with whatchamacallit, he nicknamed him Bogatron because he was the fucking. But even Bogatron, because he was literally he was a transformer level of fucking of Colchi. But he loved it. He loved it. It was like, that's how you know somebody actually likes your company, was when they give you a shit.
Yeah.
But even the story of Cian Healy's nickname is such a fucking wank thing.
What?
What, like church?
They used to call him bungalow, then they used to call him house, and then they called him church because of the progression of his physicality since he was a teenager up until an adult.
It was something. I thought he spent some time in the fucking seminary or something.
No.
Cian Healy does not strike me as the seminary hadn't touched.
Like, I've never heard even the phrase he's built like a church.
No, never.
Well, I don't know, but I think that isn't that the whole thing though, isn't it? It's like, fucking he's built like a house, and then no, and you're just trying to exaggerate it one more, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're walking by a church. You're actually built like a church, man.
Yeah, but I think that's like, I haven't been for a couple of seasons now. I used to be a season ticket holder, and where my seats were, there was a family of 4, and like that was the parents, the son and his girlfriend, and they were sitting in the seats in front of us. And every week, without fail, the dad from his bag would take out a bottle of port, and not when I say like glass, I mean this looked like fucking Waterford crystal glass. It wasn't like plastic cups or anything like that. And they would sit there for the match, like leather gloves on. You know what I mean? And like, don't get me wrong, the RDS is Baltic during the winter. It is cold.
Did he get out the pâté and the sourdough bread as well?
Oh my God, man. Like, I'd go to the Eddie Rockets truck and come back with me chicken tenders and me garlic sauce, and they'd be sitting there with an actual glass, like they'd have napkins around it, and they'd be all very delicate and all. Here you are, Sandra, and here you are, Jim.
Yeah, you wouldn't think those people actually exist, but they do exist.
Like a bottle of port would come out, and he'd be showing it to them as if this week it's a 1996 vintage, and as you can see, and then they'd pour it, and they'd all sit there for the match just sipping this port. And if Leinster scored a try or anything, the glass would stay in hand, but they'd clap on their wrist. It was It was
No, what you have to do, you have
And did you buy a season ticket after that season?
I did actually, yeah, but I changed my location in the ground.
No, what you need to do is go and just infiltrate a gang of Munster fans at Endhoment. It's the most angry. Everybody's a bricklayer, it would seem. I don't know why, but everybody's angry just because they know they're dangerously know the levels of the rules inside out. And just rows between men back and forth just seem to break out the whole time. Like, while the match is going on, they'll be like, just fucking rowing back and forth, just anger. That's what I pick up every time I'm ever in home. It's just people, because they are blue collar fucking people. Like,
give us an example there, Tom.
But the last day I was inside, that it was like there had been no rule change. They'd been claiming this rule change of something to do with a fucking kick, it was a kick, and these two lads just started fucking ripping into each other, like, and both of them were completely fucking wrong as to the distance. It hadn't come in yet. It was to do with it being talked about. This is 4 years ago, the 50-22. Which was being trialed down in the Southern Hemisphere, that if you kick it 50 meters from inside your own 22 and it bounces out, you get to throw it in, because it promotes a big fucking boot. But what it also does, it forces defenses to leave a couple of fellas in the backfield, which breaks up the line of defense, meaning there'll be more fucking tries. They've thought about it a few stages away, and this hadn't come fucking next near Limerick for sure. And these two fellas were rowing back and forth that it was different things. And I'm going, the fucking game is passing you by. Then you could see other fellas kind of shouting in, going, here, fucking, and pure Limerick accents too on top of them, like, do you know, there's nothing. Oh, lads. Tone it. Ye are the fucking polar opposite to Danny's fucking crystal fucking maze up there fucking playing. Do you remember the crystal
They're giving
maze
out about a rule that hadn't been
Yeah. But they knew that rule was coming in. That was the fucking meant. Nobody else seemed to fucking like. But that's what you're dealing with. You're dealing with people who deal with this on a religious levels. Like families, it would nearly need. It's nearly like marrying out of a religion. If you say your household was a fucking Shannon, and you wanted to marry into Gary Owen, like, oh, fuck, really?
You need some sort of letter and some sort of peace agreement to broach that deal. But that's the AIL has suffered so fucking much though. That's the downside of all this. Like, it's all great and well, the fucking professional era, and you know the province is doing great and all that thing. But like, it's the clubs. It's fucking round the country that those clubs have suffered, man.
Well, we talked about it, and you could look to the likes of Merrow Shamrock Rovers and how they have rallied locals. Now, I know there's a huge catchment area. Do you know what I mean? Like, Dublin does have huge fucking catchment area. Like, like for all the world, Merrow, there's 150,000 people between you and the stadium. Do you know what I mean? Living. Yep. There is, in Tala. Like, where the fuck would you get that? To create the ethos of the AIL. But I remember like going to fucking Interpros games when I was a kid. Where Leinster would be playing Munster, and there'd be fucking 50 Leinster fans. But, and
Leinster wasn't a thing in the 90s, like,
and there'd be maybe 400, but then you'd have been at a young Munster fucking Shannon match the week before, and there'd be 12 or 13,000 people at it. Do you know? Really? They didn't give a fuck. We had that fucking mixing with clubs, But I still to this day I know fellas that wouldn't watch Ireland. They wouldn't give one fuck about Ireland, but they'd be Munster through and through. Like, they go, fuck that, and fucking mixing with that shit. But even back down a level, they go Cork on for me all the way. Like, I couldn't give a fuck about Munster. Do you know?
Yeah.
And they're starting to get better. I talked with whatchamacallit about Jackman about that time. I was like, what needs to be done? They need to sexy up the AIL. There needs, you know what I mean? They need somebody who's smart with fucking footage and be putting out social media. And they're starting to do it better and better now. But like, you look at that day I went into St. Pat's were playing Bows. It was fucking full. It was fucking full. You know, you could see how you could run a relatively unknown to the rest of the world. They wouldn't know what St. Pat's or Bows are, but they had a full stadium and they were able to pay their players something. Do you know?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what were they paying them in bread. I don't know, but they were.
They'd be on the likes of like Rovers, Pats, Dundalk. They'd be on a very livable wage. Like, you're talking probably 1,000 a week, maybe.
Would they?
Yeah, 800. It depends on the age and the experience and stuff. But if you have a player like Owen Doyle coming home from Bolton Wanderers, who Bolton are raging, he's left Bolton in the middle of a season to come back home to live in Ireland to play for St. Pat's. Like I'm gonna guess he's probably on about 2,000 a week. You know, which is great money, like, do you know what I mean? And
fucking savage money.
If the league is keeping players, like we have Jack Bourne, who was with the Rovers for 2 years and then went off, and now he's back for 2 years. But the 2 years he was with us, he was absolutely majestic. And it's just like the thing that the RFU always get right is the marketing and the promoting of the game, I think. And the thing that the FEI is the opposite. They don't get the marketing, and they don't get, like, if you've got Jack Bourne playing in your league, I'm not exaggerating with this. He's the best player I've ever seen live. And he's got Ireland caps by playing for Shamrock Rovers. You have to promote that.
Well, like,
15 quid.
Put this to you.
To watch an Irish international play. Do you know what I mean?
I'll put this to you because I suggested this before and I was laughed out of it. And this is what turned around. Ireland for rugby, sure, back in the day, were like the Irish soccer team. They'd give it a fucking lash. They'd burn out after 50 minutes. But, you know, they'd try and keep it under fucking 50 if they were playing big teams like France and England. They might take a scalp once or twice. But the reality of it, not ever happening. Do you know what I mean? But pints back into Shelburne afterwards. Lovely stuff. But what brought it together was the taking of the interprovincials seriously. Like I said, there was that time, maybe when I was 12, 13, nobody would go see Munster, Leinster, or fucking Ulster or Connacht. They didn't give a fuck. It was all about your local club, much like St. Pat's or Shamrock Rovers. Would there or could there ever be a provincial fucking soccer setup in Ireland?
No, I don't think so.
It's the only way they're going to succeed at the international level is to actually pool their resources.
If you're I think populations make that kind of unworkable, maybe, in terms of grassroots and football in different provinces. It'd be huge in Leinster versus maybe in the West it wouldn't be that big. Do you know that way? I don't think the provincial, when you have about 6 Dublin teams, and you don't have many, you only have Cork and Limerick, 3D FC they're called now.
Yeah.
I mean, I see what you're saying, and in an ideal world, we'd even have a team in every county, but we don't even have that. So I think since John Delaney was given the boot, I think we are on the road to something good. The underage leagues seem to be progressing with Brexit as well. Players aren't allowed to go across to England now until they're 18. So
that's way healthier. That's because that was always weird. Fucking, I'm 12 and I'm going to fucking trial for Chelsea. You're 12. You've got just made your confirmation. Stop that. Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't stop them, though, to be honest, Tom, going to different countries, because Shamrock Rovers, young lad Kevin Zeffy has signed for Inter Milan. St. Patrick's Athletic player, I can't remember his name. His name escapes me, but has signed for Rennes in France.
Yeah.
So there are teams now across Europe that are looking at Ireland because of the Brexit thing. So that could work for us and against us, because a lot of our players now, the ethos is to play along the ground, to play from the back. Our national team are trying to play that. The teams under them are trying to play that. And when you see Shamrock Rovers under Stephen Bradley, they play that style of football. So, and that's watchable. That style of football to me is watchable. So I think because of that, we could be going in the right direction. I mean, all the signs are there. We've got loads of players coming through. Adam Ida scored for his first Premier League goal at the weekend for Norwich against Everton. There's loads of players.
Well, what they need is a man at the top who's fucking actually not somebody like your man. There was a guy, Philip Brown.
They need to commit.
Took over the RFU. He took over the RFU, and he was a fucking accountant. And I don't think rugby was his background at all. He was some other fucking sport, but what he was used to was running companies.
Well, in terms of your idea about interprovincial, I think what they need to do is they need to concentrate on grassroots and like the FEI, and I think the RFU concentrate on the provinces, which is brilliant. 100%, because that's how well the international team would play. So I think
we're missing the trick here.
In the equivalent of the FEI, they need to concentrate on the League of Ireland, and they just don't at the moment.
We're missing a trick. We should abandon all of it. Forget all of that, lads. Invest in a load of PS5s and get into esports. That's what we need.
That's where the money is. That's where the money is.
It's going to be in the Olympics in about fucking 12 years' time. It's going to happen. Stick a PS5 with a load of young lads now and just watch us clean up. Have you seen those fucking digital gyms in Japan?
Yeah.
It's insane.
Have you seen him play in stadiums? It's like,
oh
what the
my
fuck?
God, man.
Right, steroid filled thumbs on the little fuckers. Like,
I'm telling you now, like.
And they're all like
bonkers, man.
Birds throwing themselves at him. You're going, but you were the nerd back in the day. What the fuck is going on? How is this turned around?
Yeah, no, it's all turned around now. That's it. And now, like, they have these digital gyms, which is essentially, it is a gym. It's got its fucking weights and it's all that cardio shit and all that kind of stuff. And the idea is that, like, you know, you build yourself up because then you've got more endurance and you've got better concentration levels, you've a healthier blood flow and all. They fucking put science into this shit. And it's also that a few lads can have a game of Crash Bandicoot. It's fucking bonkers, like. But I'm telling you, it's fucking class, though. The money in esports.
I love
the money in esports is animal, like.
I love myself and Mero were actually trying to be serious there for a good 5 minutes of how perhaps we could promote, you know, a sport here in Ireland.
We were looking for answers here, Tom.
And Danny's that lunatic heckling from the back going, I have an idea. Somebody listen to me.
Has anybody here ever play Crash Bandicoot?
Fucking Gogglebox head himself at the back going, why isn't everybody looking at me? Because I'm very famous now. I'm on Gogglebox. Hello.
I've been stopped for the selfie, lads. I've been stopped for the selfie. That's it.
You haven't, have you?
I have in Super Value. Thanks for any Super Value Parkside in Portlaoise. I was stopped for the selfie. Thanks for it.
Unreal. I love it.
Yeah. Do you know what they need to put in a couch into the Super Value so you could sit there with people and actually spend the day just taking photos. $5 a pop. You just with a remote, or let them hold the remote. I don't know, whichever you, and just pretend to be pointed at the camera. Well, and they'll be on Gogglebox with fucking Danny.
If they want the authentic experience, they won't be holding the remote control. So,
okay, right.
But if anybody is interested, I do tours in my sitting room for a tenner. Just got to plug in for that now.
Do you know what?
Imagine him, Tom. Imagine him in Super Value Portlaoise on a sofa. Sit with Danny. Sit with God.
Do you know? You joke, but like, there's ones in the UK have made a fucking living off the back of it. And basically, you get to go to their house. It's the most bizarre thing. It's what, like, so I saw you on telly, watching telly, and now I'm with you where you watch. This is some fucking Matrix level shit where my brain is fucking folding in on itself.
That genuinely could be me OnlyFans that I'll binge watch a Netflix box set with you.
Oh yeah,
you know
yeah. Any touching allowed, or?
I mean, it depends on the package that they pay for.
Understood. The fucking platinum package is like you get a bit of tit. Is that what you're saying? You get a bit of platinum, Dan. Well, I think we put the fucking world to right here. WTS fucking continues stronger than fucking ever.
It's fun and games. Yeah, we're on a Christmas sojourn at the moment.
Yeah.
While Merdo sorts out some paternal affairs. Illegitimate children in Shankill. That too. But yeah, we're still going, man. We haven't. We've taken on it though, Tom. I was going to say we've taken our foot off the gas a little bit because we've just decided like we were treating it too much like a fucking job when it wasn't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, when the crack goes out of it, then yeah. But look, it never said ever. Like, it'll probably you'll get fucking bored of not doing it. By the spring, you'll go, let's fucking do it again.
Oh no, we'll be back in about a week. Like, we're just.
Oh, grand, Joe. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, we've just been
a post-mortem going on there for a second.
No. We've just been enjoying our Christmas break too much. Do you know what I mean? There's still tins of celebrations in my kitchen. So as far as I'm concerned, it's still Christmas.
Tom, I felt like me and Danny should have laid down on the sofa there and listened to you with giving us the post-mortem.
That would have been lovely, wouldn't it?
Lads, just don't give it to the summer. You'll get bored and you'll want to do it again.
Don't throw the towel in.
No, we've just kind of like there's so the market now, Tom, you know yourself, is saturated with podcasts.
I know.
And there's podcasts out there now that would probably they've been backed by that company Go Loud, and like they would be. I suppose that's more of a professional setup, and the guests that I suppose we would probably go for are who have been on the podcast, and we always like to get repeat guests because we always feel that the 45 minutes hour isn't long enough. But that seems to be a bit saturated at the moment. We found in the last maybe 10 months, and people are not forthcoming in getting back to us like they were before, that way. So look, it's a hobby. As Danny said, we took the foot off the gas. It's a hobby, and there's times where we're like, oh, we're too tired for tonight, and will we just postpone? Now, we haven't done that in a while, but like, say for instance, we don't have that for tomorrow night, we're happy with that. Like,
yeah, but I suppose there's myself and McBride, we're doing the Tom and Jerry show. We would set out and we say we're doing 6 strong episodes, or we're doing 8 strong episodes, and we'll power fucking through them, like, and just that's it.
We've kind of done the same, except maybe 4 or 5, and then it'll be like, oh, we'll take a week off and then do another 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, it's still always a fucking joy to talk to you two beautiful bastards.
And Danny's too busy now because he's a star.
I get it.
Life.
He's got super value.
I can't go and buy Irish Pride bread without being accosted in the shop.
It's like me when I was the heartthrob on Carrickstown. I understand.
Yeah.
I really understand. I bloody wish I was on Fair City and Danny had to watch me and the lovely Oksana.
God,
it would have been hilarious.
I'd have slated you.
No, you told me you wouldn't.
I absolutely would. I've had a change of heart.
Privately, you told me you wouldn't.
Slated I would have. I would have said his acting is terrible. What are they to get rid of him? He's no good. That's what I would have said, Graham. He's eating it, look.
I thought you were a fucking massive fan of it anyway, Graham. So there you go. There you fucking go. I weirdly the other day got asked for a company a year and a half ago, was during the whatchamacallit. They were doing shout out things, those shout out things.
Did you say during the whatchamacallit?
I hate saying lockdown. I fucking
during
hate
the thingamajig.
During the thing, fucking the oak, where fucking that thing. And they went, would you be interested? Show the fuck. When you did that fucking Damon Ivor stuff, they'd be mad about that stuff. There'd be a load of, and a couple of them came in. This is really bizarre, man. I look for one. I got a big ass mustache and a fucking mullet, and I don't. We're like, no, it doesn't matter. And it was true. Like a few of these, but then weirdly, out of the fucking blue, about a month ago, and it showed that I had a tiny part in Bridget Neyman, where I played the everyday fucking pervert from the 80s next door, called Paddy the Pervert. Literally, it's so on the nose. But there was almost no direction. It was just like, do what you want. Think of the pervert. And your man, what was hilarious was I went, he was like, oh yeah, cool. Can you do one where, like the one where you were in that thing, is it Bridget? Because he was from Australia and he was saying it wrong. And I went, do you mean Damo and Ivor? He went, what's Damo and Ivor? I went, because everybody had asked about that. I was like, you saw one tiny bit of me on this TV. He goes, yeah, I loved how much of a filthy pervert you were. And I went, okay, where do we go with this? Okay, inner pervert, please. And so the moustache and hair actually fitted that one even better, to be honest with you.
Jesus.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
But still,
it looks great though.
Still, they paid me 50 quid to fucking wish somebody a happy birthday with a filthy voice on me. So it was literally the easiest. If I fell over now and somebody gave me 50 quid, it wouldn't have been as easy as doing that. So Dan, get all over it. I'll get you onto him.
Can't wait, man. Looking forward to it.
Boys, this has been beautiful. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. It's great to see you again, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much, lads. WTS Pod making a return. It is official as I'm recording this. Danny's just messaged me by pure fluke to record an episode with them in a couple of weeks' time. So the boys are starting back up again. If you've missed them, they'll be back. Tickets for my Belfast show, go to the link in the show notes of this. Also, if you want to become a Patreon to see the lads' lovely faces, have the ad-free version, and come join us for the live show that we're going to do on Sunday night, where we have a few drinky winkies and get loose, become a Patreon. It's down there. You know the crack. Share if you wouldn't mind, and would you please 5-star rate over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and screen grab and tag the podcast in it. Tell everybody. Share, rate, all the usual crack. You know what I'm talking about. Right, that has been this week's episode of Buckshot. I'll be back again next week, lads. Good night, good blessed, thanks.